I think when people say they don't have money for marketing or whatever, it's just a convenient excuse. We have to get outside of that and start thinking about solutions. Real estate is not just about solving the seller's problem, but even problems for ourselves. So let's identify our problems.
Without Fear of Her Future podcast is for women who are passionately pursuing financial freedom, using multiple streams of income and real estate to accomplish their goals. We're here to empower you to be brave, dream big, and design a life that you love that inspires others to do the same. I am co-host Teresa Todd, founder of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and author of the book Without Fear of Her Future.
And I'm Melissa Baker, a real estate investor and fitness coach specializing in turning properties from drab to fab. I'm here to help motivate and inspire you to build your dream life because, girl, you deserve it. Ladies, today we have a remarkable guest joining us on the podcast, someone whose expertise not only transforms the world of real estate marketing, but also embodies the true spirit of community service. Meet Clifford Walker, also known as Clifford the Cowboy Closer, a seasoned marketing specialist with a unique twist. Clifford is not just about investing in real estate. He's about building relationships, making a difference, and leaving a positive impact on the communities he works in. His journey is a testament to the idea that success in real estate can coexist with a heartfelt commitment to giving back. Get ready for an enlightening conversation as we dive into Clifford's insights on real estate marketing and community engagement. Clifford, welcome back to the show.
Ooh, doggy, what an introduction. Thank you. I was almost looking around like, who are y'all talking about?
We're so glad to have you.
I am blessed to be here and honored. Thank y'all so much.
Let's just start out, Clifford, with your journey into the world of real estate marketing and how that led you into your coaching at the Ring podcasts, books, all of it. Where did your journey begin?
Oh, well, now it's been about 4 years that I've been investing in real estate, going to a 3-day seminar where I saw this amazing family saying, get started in real estate using other people's money and come to this event. And my wife and I sat there. We were literally like on the second row and just soaking in all that information over those 3 days. And I just knew then, I'm like, oh, this is it for me right here. I'm going to make this happen.
Well, you certainly did.
Yes, you
certainly did. You know, that 3-day event that he's talking about is my sons, Justin and Kelton, and myself. We used to have live 3-day events in Dallas, Texas, and even in Houston, where we were teaching real estate way before COVID and all of that. And I will never forget Clifford being there on that second row. And I didn't hear him say this, but I've heard my boys tell me that he literally said, well, I'm going to be your greatest success story. And boy, he stepped up and he did it. He was so coachable in every way. And so that's what our listeners are going to get the opportunity to hear about, is how you started from, just being a truck driver and started, just doing exactly the steps. And my gosh, your life has literally been transformed. And again, now you're one of our coaches at the Women's Real Estate Investors Network.
I am.
Written a book. To tell them what the name of their book is and where they can find it.
The book is Roadmap to Success, and they can find it on Amazon. So that's been a blessing all in itself and a whole different conversation. But yeah, it hit #1 new release on Amazon and Amazon bestseller. So that was exciting.
Roadmap to Success.
So good.
Yes, you need to get that book. And then the name of your podcast.
Books, Bourbon, and Business. 3 things that I love.
Love it.
Books, Bourbon, and Business. So yeah, check out his book, check out his podcast, if you want to know all of the things.
Yes, ma'am. But funny story, from the 3-day event that I went to, I still have that name tag from that event.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy. I love it. I love it. Yes, I think it's awesome to go back and just remember where it all started from. I know, for me too, just remembering, whatever steps, because anybody that's going to get into a new life, a new journey, there's some kind of a leap of faith that you have to take.
Oh, for sure.
And that's where it all begins. And so many people, so many of even our listeners, they hear about it. They talk about it. They Google it. They listen to Bigger Pockets, but they never make the leap of faith. And that's what opens the doors for a new future and a new life.
Yep. Got to take that step.
100%.
Yeah. Well, we'll come back and talk a little more because I want to hear about your story. I want our listeners to hear all of that. But before we do, you've kind of become known as, the marketing coach, especially for the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. You have done all the kinds of marketings. You know what works and what doesn't work. So I just want to ask, what specific marketing strategies have you found most effective for real estate investors looking to stand out in a very competitive market?
One thing to stand out, this might be a little bit different. I don't think it's the marketing that stands out. I think it's the conversation you have with the sellers that necessarily stands out, because the marketing's the marketing, from cold calling to bandit signs to Facebook ads and everything in between. But the moment I get on the phone with the seller, I have to set myself apart when I'm talking to those sellers. And I think that's where I kind of begin to shine in that arena more than anything, in my opinion.
I agree. And I love it because you started calling yourself Clifford, the Cowboy Closer, way early. Had you even closed a deal at that point? Or had you closed?
It was funny because that first month I was cold calling and I was hammering out calls, and I ended up getting like 6 deals that first month. And then Brandy, my wife, actually said, "Well, I guess you're just the Cowboy Closer, aren't you?"
I love it.
And I said, "You know what? I am."
Yeah. And I want to talk about that because you took on that identity. You begin to call yourself that. You begin to, and I think that's what it takes. And if we could change our conversation to always saying things like, "Well, I'm just not very good," or "I'm not," instead of just declaring it and saying it and making it be. I think that was very powerful that you decided that. And I also just want to say, I agree with you. Everybody wants to know what's the magic marketing? It all works. All of the marketing strategies work, or they wouldn't be a marketing strategy. But I agree. It's the person behind the marketing. It's the conversations that you have. It's how you relate to the sellers and all of those things.
Yeah. And with marketing, as long as people stay consistent and do enough volume, it all works. It all works. I say pick one that they know they can stay consistent at. Like when I started, I was in the truck, so I couldn't drive and be on the internet. I couldn't text and drive, but I could call and drive. I don't know if I recommend that. I just leveraged what I had available to me at the time. And so while I was sitting and driving, I was also hammering out calls as well. So people just have to find and leverage what's available to them.
Oh, so good. Where there's a will, there's a way. And you were determined and you didn't make excuses and you just found a way.
Yep.
And boy, has it paid off. I love that.
It's been a blessing.
So are there any specific challenges or common misconceptions that you've encountered in your marketing efforts for real estate investors that you'd want to share?
Any common misconceptions? I think for me, when it comes to real estate investors, and when I think about real estate investors, I think, or I've heard in the past where homeowners would say, you real estate investors just want to come in here and lowball me or make me a lowball offer, or, whatever the case may be. And I think that's a huge common misconception, if I'm answering the question right. Like, I believe that real estate investors make a massive impact um, in individual lives, in the community's lives, in so many different ways that's far from the truth. Like our goal isn't to go in here and just lowball a seller. It goes way beyond that. It's about providing solutions and creating win-wins that work for everybody.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think we get this. We have a reputation as investors as, slimy, taking advantage of people in bad situations. And there are some investors that's who they are. But for the most part, what we do and what we teach is creating win-wins. Exactly what you said, helping someone out that's in a bad situation. They're about to lose their home, or they have this property that they don't want. They don't know what to do with it. And it won't sell as is on the market. So an investor can go in and create a win-win with them.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Clifford, how do you, it's like you said, it's the person on the other end. It's you that's the magic here. It's not the marketing. It's once someone gets on the phone with you, how do you build that trust and credibility with your target audience, the people that you are marketing?
Oh, great question. So without giving you a whole sales presentation, I number one, if I may rewind. So one thing that I believe that what I'm doing and what we're doing is that we're building generational wealth by serving other people. And so when I go into any conversation with a seller, my goal and my heart is to serve them to the best ability possible. So that takes away any pressure of me needing to be some type of grand closer or some type of cowboy closer. I can just go in here and focus on serving that family and giving them the best option. So I may say, hey, Mr. Seller, we may or may not be a good fit to work together. And guess what? That's okay. I want to go through some options with you and we'll figure out something together. I think that is what helps me out of the gate because one, I'm giving them options. Two, I'm showing them how different options will work differently and have different kind of pros and cons. So when you're giving people options, they'll begin to trust you. I think.
Right. I agree. It builds that character, credibility, likability, and people want to do business with people they know, trust, and like.
Exactly.
Well, how do you recommend real estate investors balance their marketing budgets to maximize that ROI? Because I know a lot of people think I don't have the money to market. So what do you want to say to that?
If they don't have the money to market, that's okay. Like, do it anyways. We're going to have to get creative. I think about when I started, I didn't have a marketing budget, hardly. I had a cell phone and I could print off the free pre-foreclosure list. So I literally used the resources that I had to me to literally start creating income, creating deals, and generating money coming in. So that way I could pour back into marketing. I think when people say they don't have money for marketing or whatever, it's just a convenient excuse. We have to get outside of that and start thinking about solutions. Real estate is not just about solving the seller's problem, but even problems for ourselves. Right. So let's identify our problems. I need money. I need a deal. I'm limited marketing budget. Okay, where do I need to start here? Well, I know I have a cell phone. I'm already paying that, so leverage what you have.
Oh my gosh.
Good. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good. You just said it. It's so many of us are looking for an excuse to be a victim. And, I just don't have any marketing money or whatever it is. It sounds really legit. It sounds really good. But again, where there's a will, there's a way. And if you are determined, just like you are, I was just like you, Clifford. I didn't have any money to spend coming into this. Mine was door knocking. You just have to figure out a way that you're going to make this work until you get that first or second deal is all it takes. Because then you start holding on to that marketing money like crazy. That's all I was concentrating on whenever I was making that money is I was going to hold enough back to never be without marketing money again. Because I didn't want to knock on doors forever.
No. And the one thing I'll say, or I'll add this about marketing budget for those listening. The less you spend in marketing, the more you're going to have to hustle. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if you don't have a marketing budget, just know that, okay, I have to hustle hard for the next 30 to 60 days. So be it. It is what it is. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
That's exactly right. It's temporary. Hustle, make the money. Yeah. And this is good. Yeah, this is fire.
So I know there's a lot of emerging trends, new technologies that come out in every area, but specifically in real estate marketing. What are some of those that you know of? And then I'm going to ask the question that I know everybody is wanting to know right now. What kind of marketing are you currently doing?
Okay. So marketing that I'm currently doing is cold calling. It is, I believe, the one and only marketing that I have never stopped from the very beginning. It is an old school method that is tried, tested, it works. And you know why? Because nobody wants to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nobody wants to cold call. And then I kind of play around and bounce around between other strategies. I do try to have at minimum 2 to 3 marketing strategies going. So right now I'm doing direct mail. So cold calling and direct mail are my main 2 forms of marketing.
Okay. Can you touch on, just because I know there's some listeners who might be brand new to the real estate investing world, can you just touch on the few different types of marketing that are available to them?
You have the basics like that people always talk about, from cold calling to direct mail to text messaging, ringless voicemails, all that stuff. But I don't think we talk enough about other marketing as well that are options, like radio ads, TV ads. I see those for several investment companies as well. I know a lady in the ring that put those little electronic billboards in the DMV that go through. How many people go on the driver's license place and sit in there? Like, marketing is marketing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to get creative. There's a huge car wash out here by where I stay, and the owner rents out the back wall for people to put banners. So you'll see all these different companies that have banners out there just advertising their business. So there's a multitude of ways to do marketing.
Absolutely. Bandit signs, putting out the little signs that say we buy houses. Yeah. And I think that you said it. What works for your personality? What is something that you're going to stay with long term? Like you have stayed with cold calling long term. Mine really was direct mail. That's what I did for years and years and years. It was just so simple. You could put it on automatic and just go. And it still works.
Still works.
Yeah.
It all works.
They all work. That's exactly right. That's all right. That's right. Well, listen, we talked a little bit about creating those win-wins for everybody that we work with. That's what we preach and teach all the time is creating win-wins. We're talking about somebody that's selling their property. If we're talking about end buyers, if we're talking about private money lenders, our realtors, our title companies, if we're just always thinking about creating win-wins for everybody and not just ourselves, that's what's going to make us successful. We're going to build a reputation. People are going to want to do business with us. But do you have any particular stories that kind of stand out where you maybe helped out a seller or just created a win-win with someone in your investing business?
There was one story when you say that pops up recently, because it was a deal that we just closed on in Houston where the seller is going through foreclosure. And Brandy and I were driving and he calls my cell phone and he was just really thanking me like, Clifford, you were the only one that was able to get this done. Just, I appreciate you. Like, it was such a heartfelt call. I told Brandon, like, I wish I could have recorded it
Aw.
just so people can realize the impact that we make.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond our pocketbook.
Yep.
But that's just with the seller. And speaking of pocketbook, one thing that I personally love to do is beat people's expectation. Is something for myself. So I work with agents a lot, and I have them send me deals and things of that nature. Well, people always say, well, what do you pay a referral fee for an agent or a marketing fee for an agent, right? I'm like, well, it just depends on the deal. If the agent says, hey, Clifford, just give me $1,000, but then I go and I wholesale this deal and make 20, why would I not give her 5,000?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I want
It was a free deal. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a free deal. I want to beat people's expectation because if they think they're only getting $1,000 out of this deal, and then I give them 5,000, it shows them that I don't just care about my pocketbook. I care about theirs as well. And I want us all to win. And then also, who do you think they're going to think about on the next deal?
That's exactly right.
People are so worried about trying to pay the least amount, and it's hurting them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, don't get greedy. Don't try to make it all on one single deal.
Yep. Oh, so good.
Yeah. I love your heart in that, Clifford. I really do. And speaking of, giving back to your community is a big part of your work. So we're going to pivot and start talking about this here. Can you share some initiatives or projects that you've been involved in and the impact that they've had in your community?
Yes. So I have a nonprofit that's a 501c3. It is a tax exempt, Cowboys for the Community. So every single month on the third Saturday, rain, sleet, snow, it doesn't matter. We are out there having a huge community cookout for the homeless. Well, I say homeless, but it's for anybody, because you don't have to be hungry to be homeless, or you don't have to be homeless to be hungry.
That's right.
No questions asked. Pull up, get a meal. And I'm not cooking. This is no knock against any organization. But I'm not feeding sandwiches, bologna sandwiches and chips. Like, these are whole food meals. These are meals that I would feed y'all if y'all came down and ate at my house. If I'm cooking prime brisket for my family, I'm cooking prime brisket for my community.
Yeah, I've been there. I know.
I'm not going to serve anybody anything that I would not personally feed my family. And I take pride in that. So, we do that. We're about 300 people a month that we feed and serve. It's been an absolute blessing. And I love it. I love it.
I know you do, and I love it. I absolutely
awesome.
I mean, just think of how it's grown. I mean, that from that first time to now, 300 people every month know that they can come out, and not only do they get a meal, but they get some good quality time together. Yeah. They get a woo doggy and a hug from you, and
oh yeah,
and real estate investing is what gave you the ability to do that. I mean, I believe you've always been a servant. You've always been a servant. You were always serving way before investing ever came into your life in whatever manner that you can. But as you begin to build wealth for yourself, now there's open doors for you to do things like this. You can do the things that have always been near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, it allows me to pour gasoline on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And allows me to make a bigger impact. Money matters. Having your money right matters.
Yes, it does. You can't give somebody a nice meal if you can't afford to buy that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It definitely matters.
Okay. So let's go back a little bit. I said I wanted to do this. You were truck driving 4 years ago. So just kind of take us from there to here in a minute or two.
Well, how fast do I need to fast forward?
No, you're good.
So truck driving, meets an amazing family, teaches me real estate investing. I go on, I apply those strategies, start seeing success with it, start coaching and sharing the success. A book came in between somewhere in there. Now it's opened up a new door of public speaking that I didn't realize I loved. I just love helping people. I love helping people become the best versions of themselves and being on that journey with them, because we're all on this journey, and it may be different for all of us, or but yeah, now it's sparked a whole new interest there, and I'm really kind of going down that avenue, if that makes sense, or even answers the question. I don't even know.
I love that becoming the best version of yourself. And I just want to ask, because we've heard the story of how you got connected, started your real estate investing, but I know there was a lot of mentoring that went into that. Can you speak about your mentors, the different mentors you've had, and how that helped elevate you to where you are now?
Mentors are amazing. I think they fast-tracked my success. I know without a doubt they did. One thing that I've noticed is that most successful people have coaches and mentors. I shared this scenario with somebody the other day, ironically in the gym, and he's a young fella and he's just starting a business. And I asked him a question. I said, you have all these goals, which are amazing, but do you know how to run a 7 and 8 figure a year business? He's like, well, no. I'm like, have you ever done that before? Well, no. Well, what makes you think you can without a coach or a mentor? Like, I mean, I'm not saying you can't, but why not go and get somebody that has experience running a company like that or scaling a company like that, that can fast track what you're doing instead of hitting your head 1,000 times. Like, I'd rather learn from somebody else's mistakes.
Right.
A prime example of this is actually, there was a deal that I was finna go buy. It was early in my investment career, and I look at the deal, it comes across my email, and I'm like, this is an amazing deal. And so I end up calling Kelton, and I'm like, man, I found this awesome flip. I'm finna go buy it. I'm on my way right now to put the $5,000 non-refundable deposit down. I actually sent him a text. And he calls me back like 10 minutes later. He's like, no, wait. And when we dove into it, come to find out it wasn't a deal. And I would have lost my tail on that deal. And that's the power of a coach and a mentor, because they see things that you don't normally see, especially when you're just getting started.
Mm-hmm. Right, man. I agree. And, listening to you talk about mentors, and you were so coachable, and that's what you have to be. I mean, you don't want to hire a mentor and a coach and then not do what they say. And not only did you, you went above and beyond. It wasn't just that you started learning real estate. I mean, that's what you started. I mean, you were already in the gym, getting your health and fitness right, listening to the podcast. Now you have your own podcast, reading every book you could get your hands on. Now you've written a book, listening to every speaker, and now you're a speaker. I mean, now can I just say that you are also a coach and a mentor for the Women's Real Estate Investors Network. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so everything that if you will be the student, then eventually you can be the coach or the mentor, and that very thing. And that has certainly been your story. And you're one of the most beloved coaches at the Ring. Every one of these ladies love you, and they will shout from the rooftop. I mean, the standing ovation that you got at Ring Live, it still gives me chills to think about it. It
gave me chills. It almost broke me tears. I'm like, wait a minute, I wasn't expecting this.
Well, that is because you truly are changing these women's lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And they see your heart in everything, in your coaching and in your interactions, in your business, in every aspect of your life. You just put it out there. So it's beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful. I want to know, what advice would you give an aspiring real estate investor? I've got two questions here. What advice would you give a new, maybe an up and coming real estate investor? And then second is, what advice would you give those who are now making some money? What advice would you give them to get involved in their community, to start making a difference in their own community like you've done in yours?
Great question. For somebody wanting to get started or inspired, definitely invest in themselves. All of this stemmed from me willing to take a leap of faith and invest in myself and get the proper education to make sure that I'm not losing my tail on deals. So definitely do that. And then stay coachable. Like Teresa said, don't hire a coach and then not do what they say do. Like everything that have has been from following a blueprint that somebody else laid out for me. So that would definitely be my number one advice there. Now, in regards to giving to the community, one thing that I truly believe is that, well, money is a funny subject. I do believe that money can buy temporary happiness, but it can't give you fulfillment. It can't give you joy. It can't give you purpose. That's what serving my community is about. I truly believe that's what God called me to do. And it just takes it to a whole nother level when I can use the money to love the people.
That's good.
If that makes sense. I don't know how to even explain that.
Yeah.
That's
I
really
think
good.
you just did. That was great.
And that's what I want to do, and see how much more can I give? Can I tithe? Can I donate? My goals are honestly now based around, I want to be a 7-figure tither.
Ooh,
wow.
Yeah.
What I want to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of my next questions, is what's next for you, or what's up and coming for you? But I love that goal right there.
Oh yes, absolutely. Like let's make an impact. Like, come on.
So good. So good.
Well, you certainly are making an
Yes.
impact, Clifford.
Clifford, can you tell, I know you told them where to find your book and stuff. Can you tell our listeners how they can connect with you online?
Just Instagram and Facebook, typical Clifford, the Cowboy Closer. It's so funny because somebody posted or made a comment on one of my things and said, "Hey, I want to see more real estate stuff." Y'all, I'm more than a real estate investor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm an investor. I do show cattle. Like, I got a nonprofit. Like, real estate is a small piece of my life. And so I share all of me.
Yep.
My struggles in the gym, trying to get my weight together. Like, so if you follow me, you're just following Clifford. You're not, I may throw some nuggets out there for real estate investing, but it's just me being my country self.
Yep. Yep. And we love it.
Yes,
So
we
keep
do.
being you, Clifford.
That's right.
Well, again, I personally am so grateful for you and the way you serve all the women inside the Women's Real Estate Investors Network, how you're affecting their lives. And not only are you teaching them, mentoring them and coaching them about real estate, but you're such an example of being that servant and creating win-wins. And so again, appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here today. And listen, if you have not yet subscribed to Without Fear of Her Future podcast, then hit that subscribe button today for new episode reminders.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of the Women's Real Estate Investors Network and Teresa Todd, I'm Melissa Baker, encouraging you to be brave and dream big.